Welcome to the first Reaper Metal Radio live stream. We'll be breaking the silence indeed. So if you are here, feel free to say hello, because in a moment later on in the video, we're going to be taking a look at what I have put my sun-lotioned greasy fingers upon lately, with an unboxing. And then after that, we're going to kind of have just a good old typical like Reaper Metal, whatever of, you know, many of the shows that it's had, kind of conversations in a very appropriate theme, I would say, that kind of, you know, in a world of freaking beers, coffees, puzzles, action figures, like, you know, what it means to be a dork fan in the really, as I see it, you know, if you're in a kind of a different generation, can totally have an effect and a change on it. So we'll be diving into that conversation. I want you to, you know, keep on top of it with me by having the chat going, so that I'm not just talking to the wall. So I'm also getting reacquainted here with the layout of the live stream, because one of the things we're going to give a shout out to Jared, who is on the not so as awesome as I used to advertise it Reaper Metal fan club as previously, but he did just join it again because it is still out there. If it's something that's just like, wow, does that sound like a dinosaur at this point? So shout out to Jared, who was on it previously and has come back recently, who has basically kind of gave me a kick in the ass by, well, just seeing somebody join essentially what I would kind of think doing a shitty fan club, Patreon, whatever you want to call it, by encouraging me that, hey, we need some new content, miss hearing from you. So I figured I would kind of just share what's on my mind, try something new, because I haven't done a Reaper Metal radio live stream. What the hell would the difference even really be in the name of the show otherwise than just to open up a conversation and then have it with the live audience that we used to previously do all the time with Hellcast? So fuck it, we're going to do it here. And without half the hassle, which is one of the reasons why you don't hear from me as much, as when I made freaking like decisions to stop making content as active, however moons ago that was. It's, you know, setting up mics, cameras, this and that, where it's just like, fuck, man, like this is like making a movie every single time. That it's like, you know, you're going back to at least creating content. It's just like, I didn't want to do all this. I just wanted to make like a cool like radio show and, you know, have fun with the topics that would kind of come to mind, and then like do them in a, you know, like a radio production way. I don't even know if that would have meaning anymore, other than it's like whatever awful at this point, like, do you even need a DJ? So like, you know, automated playlist, at least in the commercial sense. Then to be like, you know, fun little audio bits that you could do and crap like that we formerly did. So anyway, I'm slightly rambling on the excuse of that, but having a more of an open conversation later on. So definitely let me know that you're here, as you are already doing. So I'm going to start this with at least, first off too, if you're just hearing this, you know, because the channel has been doing like demo posts and stuff. So if you're like, who the fuck is that guy? I'm used to seeing VHS tapes and cool demos. I am Reaper, and I've run this channel. We'll keep it as simple as that, because otherwise, if you know who I am, you know who I am. Nevermore Rules, he lives. Hey, Harley Quinn, Wagwarn, I don't know. Mike, nice to see you. Alexander, good to see you. World Eater, freaking Slayer, Kellen, yeah, who? Metal Musician 6996. All right. Frank, Slade, James, Jack. So lots of familiar names. Good to see you guys back. I'm gonna set my phone down. I've been holding it. Let me know if the audio goes out right about now. How's the audio doing? Because it might be covering up the headphones or the microphone, and whatnot. So wait a minute, this isn't the Pantera live stream. I don't know why it would be. Like it could be any live, like a mention like that is like any live stream. Okay, so the audio's good for now. Cool. Alrighty, good. Well, 4-inch. Like I said, if you just kind of monologue, our topic today, just totally want to like dive in, like as like the dweeb that like at least I was, that like of like just listening to music, but like having like a favorite band, and like like at one point it meant buying like every album, even if it sucked in a way, or at least you could have been that like once I saw like puzzles and shit, and just like, all right, there's a lot going on. And then it's like a world of like digital. So that in a nutshell, because then I wanted to give a real quick shout out. Well, actually, I gave the shout out, but draw your attention with me and go over, grab your computer, grab your phone, probably just on your phone, reapermetal.bandcamp.com. Because when you go there, right now, there is a sale from now until Sunday. So 25% off everything here in the store. There's a ton of stuff, not just Reaper Metal releases. Let's see if I can do this in reverse. So boom, just hundreds, thousands. It feels like thousands at this point, and it has to have been thousands at least overall of shit just listed on there, painstakingly by yours truly. So go ahead, please take a look. At least it's fine if see if something tickles your fancy. If not, then get a good deal. 25% off. Whatever it's listed at. So just use the code SUMMER 2023. That's SUMMER, SUMMER 2023, all one word when you're checking out here on Bandcamp, reapermetalproductions.bandcamp.com. Because then shit, they'll give me an excuse for sitting here for the next about 20 minutes or so. See if I can manage to stick to that. So cool. Got my plug, as we would put it. So yeah, being a dork, because, all right, so, I don't know, like, I was thinking about the, like, Hell's Headbangers, well, they still have them, so, but, like, when I first saw from, there's a distribution in the United Kingdom called, Plastic Head Distribution. This isn't to rag on anybody, it's just to say that's where they came from, and it was my job to be, like, the receiving, and so I saw a lot of shit, and I think it gradually turned me, at least, into this opinionated, I don't know what, but just seeing so much shit that it's just like, holy crap, like even albums you didn't even like, you knew are classic, but like perhaps even if it wasn't familiar with, like, it's like, I don't know, like Judas Priest, Painkiller comes to mind, or really anything by him, like being classic to that regard, or, Slayer, Maiden, so on and so forth, a big proportion that when like the freaking like album cover puzzles came in, and just like, how many ways are there to slice like having a favorite album? Because it's like, I don't know, it put me in a place that, at least me personally, I started to get like just more like looking at things differently, because it's just like, fuck, man, like, so like, let's use, something obvious, like Slayer for an instance, since that would be like, 86, that like Rain and Blood, the finally hailed album came out, and it's just like, be it as it may, and you've heard my opinion on many of the shows, at least not being of the hailing it kind, that whatever. I like the album. I don't like hate it or anything. I just am that guy that's just like, fuck, man, like everybody loves that. And at this point, it's fucking nearly 40 years old. Like, it's almost, like oldies metal at that point. Not ragging it. I'm just saying, as far as like age of any sort of music or art of any form, like almost gets to a point where it's just like, it's pretty freaking old. That like, liking it then, and it's like years throughout that, or I don't know, eras, periods of time throughout that 40 years then of like being a raging fan. There was like, at least for the life of this example, the Slayer, or really anything from the 80s that's classic, most of its life would have been record sales and just people like, yeah, I love that album, don't you? Like, fuck, you don't like it, how don't you? And like kind of cram it down your throat. Whereas when the puzzles come into the pictures, it's like, how many ways can you like love this album for 40 years? That like this is a lot. Like there's a lot going on. I'm not saying it sucks if you maybe you're like me, and your daughter's almost 9, like, and you would love to put together a Painkiller, Rain and Blood puzzle together, like. That's cool. Maybe it's for that. I'm just saying, I started a question, like, what, like, do we really need puzzles? Like, did we really need, like, cough, like, because at the end of the day, again, I like it. So Three Floyds here, they do some of the like the band beers. Like, what is it really if it were the Devastation beer, than not just being a beer that the brewery makes and then they just slap a label on it that's Devastation because you know it, you love it, you can't live it. Apparently, you can't live without it. Hence this rant. And then product sales pitch that like you gotta love it, you gonna drink this shit. It's just a constant like reminder, you know. It's like literally, you know, when the people that look at a t-shirt, it's not just me, although I'm starting to think this way in some regard, that like at least when you get like, you know, random like Walmart or like some like dumb like event that like they'll have like you know, the novelty t-shirt to walk away with. It's like I don't need to like walk away with this memory by wearing it as a walking advertisement of an event that has come to pass. Just me, but you know, and you know, tour dates would be no different. So what a prick. But you know, if you know what I mean, I guess that's exactly what I'm saying, and why I'm going to check the comments here, so I'm not just freaking rambling and trying to you know, sell my point as if you perhaps didn't get it and weren't saying here in the comments. So let me follow up on these because I don't know where the hell I was. I need a moderator on this shit. Where's the legend iDog? He is at home doing his thing. I think I'm still a member of the Reaper Metal Patreon. Nevermore rules. Thank you. Well then, thank you for sponsoring this. You made me go back and, you know, kind of just think too. Like I knew it was there, and I knew it was like, fuck, man, this isn't living up to the expectation I would imagine, or at least the one you know said. So for anybody to like still be on it and giving up hard-earned money, you know, really much appreciated. You know, I want to do something. So I guess thank Jared for the kick in the ass to be like, I leaving other people behind, I guess. So anyway, anything about our conversation or it sucks. Move on to something else. All right, there we go. What's up, we need more Hellcast. Well, that's kind of what we're doing. Sounds good. Sup, devils. What up, Reaper? I have nobody commenting yet. This is the infomercial. Yes, that was the infomercial part. Help for review. Who the hell's reviewing shit? Teddy Tommy, repping Texas while this. Yes, exactly. Tommy's embarking on this. Nice. And I am not wearing this outside. My basement is cold, or the House of Death studio, as we might want to put it in the fine print, where I'm currently at. So repping the long sleeve and keeping you on the line to stay along with this live stream, because we're going to be doing an unboxing. Wink, wink. Cool. Thanks for sticking the assimilation in my last order. Very cool. And yes, if anybody takes advantage of that sale, you too could be the recipient of awesome random goodies. World Eater, are you going to be on the witching hour if Necron does one? Inform me. Well, I don't even know what I'm talking. I read right there. In fact, Metal Musician 6996, Yo Reaper, what was the first show you attended? Was Kronos cool when you met him? All right, that's fine. If so, first show was in Cleveland. I couldn't get a ride for a lot of years because I would have had a sooner first show. And Nevermore rules and seeing the name Nevermore reminds me of this with vivid detail. Granted, they did not play. That was one of the shows I couldn't get a ride to. Because otherwise it was Iced Earth on the horror show tour. The last good Iced Earth album, in my opinion. And it was In Flames, which before the white suits though, and the I guess the third logo, because the like unlegible death metal logo, I guess you could say it like that in the beginning. Then the classier one in the mid range, and then the white suits beyond that era I'm talking about. Otherwise, who was the third? Oh, Jag Panzer. Yeah, which was also, I forgot what album that was. But it was totally, you know, a pairing of Century Media. Hence the Nevermore reference, because I always kind of being a fan of both Nevermore and Iced Earth in those days anyway, because then Dead Heart and Her Dead World would be kind of my stopping point for Nevermore. Just didn't really get into. It was cool when they introduced the 7 strings, but then the chug-a-lugginess that it got afterward, it just wasn't my brand of beer. Otherwise, yeah, that would be the answer to that question. And that was at the Agora in Cleveland. And I don't remember the year, but obviously those eras should speak for themselves. Speaking of Iced Earth, are they still canceled? I have no idea. I've actually kind of curious, being, you know, more, at least a one-time fan, because I kind of tried to go back too and listen to not just them, any band, which is kind of the point of what I was bringing up about like puzzles and crap too, where to be like, as far as my opinion, like to be a fan of a band, like sometimes it even meant that like you didn't even like all the records, but yet you'd still buy them to kind of keep up with. But like, you know, because in a world of like downloads too, especially if the record sucks, and maybe that's what maybe that's what happened, where it warranted like slapping a label on a coffee or a beer, or then printing the cover and saying it's a, you know, a however many piece puzzle. Have fun, you know, do it with the kids, I guess. Glue it together, put it on the wall. Like, who knows? But like, so that like, you know, there was like stopping points, but sometimes you even suffered through it, even if it sucked. So maybe like, did the fact that like digital kill that we had to like rely on product, or you know, to really for the studio, or for labels and stuff to cover the costs of poor investments. You sound exactly like 2001 me. Okay. What in what regard though? As far as the fandom of like those albums, or I mean, certainly not puzzles. I don't think puzzles were, unless I was oblivious. I don't. I mean, I guess there probably was. You know, I know there was like a rigor mortis chili can that came out like when that album came out in what, '88. But you know, I don't know. I just think the fad of like, you know, ridiculous merchandise is kind of a newer thing. With that being said, I'll let the comments roll in then. Moving things along. You heard about it in the beginning, so you should be excited. That's really why you're still waiting around. This conversation is boring the hell out of you. You just wanted to see this damn unboxing, because yes, you saw the shirt, now see the puzzle in and of itself, because it's a freaking box set. Or at least that's what I'm holding. But this is also going to be a deep dive, because that's not to say that if you wanted those Devastation demos in your collection, and damn it, a box set that sounds expensive, well, good news is this box set is just now also going to show you everything that does exist that you could get by itself. Long sleeve shirts included, because then short sleeve shirts as well of this sweet ass design that happens to be the cover of the box set of the release itself, because then it's available on vinyl, CD, and cassette, because then that's all 3 cassettes, as we'll see here in a second. So right out the rip, man, this cover art is not a redraw of anything later on, so that we could revisit and have something, you know, nostalgic looking, a la in the vein of what Devastation's, you know, stuff discography would have looked like, or like picking a favorite, because there's 3 demos of one of the covers to be the cover of the box set. It was great. It was even better than that. It was a piece of art. There was only a shirt, I believe. Well, it definitely wasn't released. So yeah, only a shirt. Maybe it was on a flyer. You know, I believe in that regard. Not on a release. So pretty much never seen. So perfect cover, because once I saw the original drawing inside of a package that vocalist Rodney Dunsmore had sent me for this project to scan in, as far as, you know, materials to include, you know, photographs and such. I was, well, there's our cover, you know. Because then otherwise, I handed it off to the great people at Redefining Darkness to put out this long worked on box set that, if you followed this channel, you probably heard me talking about it, because I was going to release it, but it would have never been a box set like this. So as far as like, as you've seen a lot, especially lately, like VHS tapes, demos posted, well, Devastation was no exception, that when it came to my collection of demos and stuff, I digitized the whole damn thing, and it took years. So I had the, like, the wish that, like, dude, like, if only I could make my 1, 2, 3 of the Devastations, like, because I have them, and like, I think it was, yeah, Violent Termination, which is the first album's title. So Violent Termination, the demo, wasn't even on Metal Archives. It was your boy here talking about it on the previous show on Reaper Metal, Heavy Metal Relics, where I showed it off, because literally the still frame that like was a picture, and I know for sure because it was like, it was on like this like webbed table, like we had this like web, you know, tabletop that cloth that we put on there. So, and that's in the pictures that's on, or at least was, I think still is, on Metal Archives, to even ever mention this demo existed. So I figured, if anybody's the guy, I should be the guy involved in this project. So this is a dream come true, but when it comes to actually releasing it, which I thought I would do, didn't happen, and I'm glad it didn't, because Redefining Darkness took it over, did a way better job, a la these what's the word I'm looking for? Redone, you know, in the style of the original demo tapes. So these are not the originals themselves. These are the newly released that you can get on their own, but they come in the box set, and then they go in this awesome ass sleeve that's like nice and folded flat for you inside the box set. Otherwise, ready to rock when you get it in the mail. If you want all three cassettes, because you have to buy it all three. Figured if you're a Devastation fan, you're not gonna like want one or the other. Like that one's okay, but so all three of them come together at one. Really cool, I thought, idea, because again, that's the work of redefining doing that. Because then, let me come back to the comments real quick. I'll dive in more. So we'll kind of go chat and more items of this unboxing. Damn it, I just wanted to see that. Lonesome Path. Hey, Reaper, when are y'all gonna make a new Hell's Headbangers infomercial? That of OG one was badass. Whenever somebody calls me up and says, when's your availability? We want to hire you to make a new one. Because I no longer work there to make content like that. So, but I'm for hire, hence Reaper Metal Productions. Sorry, I'm doing other things. I can't keep up with the chat. No worries. Teddy Tommy, Rigor Mortis, another killer Texas band. I don't think it must be Texas theme, huh? At least it's on the mind. I love Freaks. I was a late bloomer, but yes. Do you have World Eater? Do you know about the Freaks demo CD though that Casey Orr put out on his label? I think just Rigor Mortis. Close. RMR, or RMP for this, but it once was Reaper Metal Records. Yeah. So the demo of Freaks, because then shit, it's been a moment since I talked about it and listened to it. But Bruce Corbett does vocals on it, because then obviously on the Freaks EP he did not. So that was cool, because it was like you know, well, you got to hear him do the songs that he wasn't on. In a studio sense too, because then they're like really good sounding demos. Or demo. So Freaks, demo, Rigor Mortis. Check it out. Psychiatric Regurgitation is another killer band from Texas. I do not recall if that's a familiar band or not, name or not, because Regurgitation, I guess, and hell, Psychiatric for that matter, seem like are just obviously common words. Sam, your record label rolls Z's and lots of L's and Z's. Thank you. Sweet. So yes, keep those comments rolling. And I do want to hear more comment. Oh, Green is from Germany. Sweet. Good to see you. You're still awake. Or is it? Yeah. Well, yeah. It'd be either really late at night, 8 hours from here. The hell time is it here? 7:30. Anyway. The topic at hand was, well, this unboxing, but also any nerds that wanted to comment on the fact of what does it mean to be a fan to you in 2023 in a world of digital downloads where you can preview and find out that the album sucks and I no longer want to find this band, but do I want to buy the puzzle of that classic album that I've been worshiping for 40 years? Or maybe you got a totally different thought. Those are just at least how I'm nurturing this conversation that I'm basically leading, obviously with a type-formed audience. That is a sick Iron Bird you have, Christopher says. Thank you for noticing. Yes, it is of the two that I own, because since on that regard, this is the other one, the black one, that I've had longer, and it once suffered the fate of a chip here at the top that I was happy when somebody, a Lutheran, what word I'm looking for? Luthier. Which, so happy about that, because yeah, that's the one. That sounds about right. Because in that I got 10 years ago, maybe less. 10. Let's go with 10. Because it was an offer I couldn't pass up. Because otherwise it's a little bit bigger and it doesn't fit the hard shell that I have for that Iron Bird, which is one of the things that could suck about being a BC Rich fan, as I am, because I have several. So cool. Glad to talk about. I always like to talk about guitars. Just woke up. Dead Infection reissue. I don't know. That is a dog question. Justin Horrible at youtube.com is his channel. Check him out on there, because that is totally something. Well, anything of the Hell's like reissues and stuff. I run Reaper Metal. I met Bruce a few times since he was a legend in the DFW. So he'll go down in history as one of the best headbangers of all time. Yep, Bruce from Rigor Mortis. Or anybody join, and we were just kind of talking about that. Yeah, kind of almost like a reminder in a way that he's no longer with us. Kind of a weird fact to like be reapproached with. Slade just got a killer warlock. That's sweet. Slade, are you the Slade from Finland? I watch every day. Watch what every day? The certainly not the lack of content I've been posting. Cool. Well, keep those comments going. Let's take a look at the Devastation CD. Back to Texas, I guess, in this unboxing. Because there's the CD. Obviously sharing this cover art. Because then, yeah, you got package, deal. You know, just simple and condensed as far as the CD's going. But it's effective. It looks really nice. I usually would always do my own layouts. Granted, this isn't my release anymore. So that was just another aspect, though, that I was excited about. That just to see somebody else do a project that I was heavily involved with and then doing a way better job on the design. Or at least I thought so. Because otherwise, that is the CD. Moving along to the LP, there are, I believe, 3 colors. I know red's one of them. Okay, cool, Slade. I was thinking, what it was, the one band, Grave Violator, that I released their album Back to the Cults, which you could take advantage of this 25% off Reaper Metal sale. Grave Violator, though, but Slade was in that band, so they're from Finland. Thought maybe that could have been the Slade we're talking to. Otherwise, back to the LP. Boom. Cool gatefold cover. There's a lot of those materials that we're talking about, which, man, there were definitely a lot of helping hands with this release, so those people would recognize who they are. Otherwise, didn't get totally like listed out as credit in the album. I mean, I guess, what do you like? Thanks for the flyer, John. So otherwise, kind of, left it to the obvious credits of who's in the band and whatnot. Because otherwise, you know who you are, who helped out. So you get a cool booklet, though, that comes with the LP. That kind of is, well, it's not kind of, it's pretty sweet. Just kind of thinking out loud and looking at it for really the second time. I jammed it more than I kind of dove in. And then it's a double LP. So this is the black vinyl, which comes, I think black is only in the box set. I could be wrong on that if you're interested in the box set. However, then if you want a different color, you definitely have that option without the box set, if indeed the box set is only black. But then otherwise, that would mean you could choose what vinyl you get for the box set, if I am incorrect. Because then that is about it. I got the box set, obviously, and that's why I was showing you. And then I have the shirt on, keeping me warm in this finely air-conditioned room. Sweet. So that is the unboxing. RedefiningDarknessRecords.com. The link, as the cool kids on YouTube say, is in the description. And so is for anybody that's joining us, or if you've been here, you can hear it until a point of exhaustion. But I want you to know, damn it, from now until Sunday, you have the opportunity to take 25% off your anything in the shop at the Reaper Metal Bandcamp site. I don't need why I need to show the computer. I just want to make it more visually pleasing that something's going on and I'm not just talking to the wall. Otherwise, summer 2023, all one word, to use that, take advantage of that discount from now until Sunday, July 16th. So yeah, reapermetal.productions.bandcamp.com. Be there. Alrighty, back to our comments. Anybody nerding out on the the hoped for the attempted topic at the beginning anyway. We shall see. The fact is, this box set has cassette tapes, makes me want to buy it. Loving the artwork. Yeah, Lonesome Path. That to me was just, I don't know. I was so excited about that artwork and just everything, really. And those cassettes and then having that old, because like the one even had the sticker on it. Like that was like a purposeful idea because the original was like that. It's like, well, you got to do the one where it's pro-printed, like any tape you would have got where it's imprinted on there, with then like do stickers and then do a different color shell, or one's just a solid black, because that was what they were like. And I don't know, it's just cool, Do you still have the AC box set to show? I ordered. What AC box set? Like I'm seeing AC and I'm thinking anal cunt, and I never really had that. Only vinyl is real. I I wonder if they did a black and red. Yes, the black and red for sure. Can I reissue Krabathor Lies? Man, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Honestly, I got to go back to and like even remember what the heck they sound like. But I'm more so handing off stuff and just getting involved where I can be helpful. So make a video, master a recording, fix some audio, put together some stuff or make music of my own. So as far as like vinyl reissues or just any vinyl release, like it's more so of my the goal is more so to come up with like more Crucified Mortals or something that I'm involved with, and then hand it off to another label. So a lot of handing off going on. We're just like, to be producing records and investing in them and then running shop fully. Like, I don't know. It's kind of been a, something that I've done for so long that it's, kind of weaving itself out. But that's not to say that I don't have a ton going on. Hence kind of the sale, help speed things along and, give people good value and get cool music into people's hands. Because I do have plenty of Reaper Metal releases in stock too. So please take advantage of the sale. What are we at? I wish I could be a better fan these days and buy box sets and puzzles. Nevermore Rule says. Well, is that? I guess that's my question though. That I say is like, is it being a better fan, or is it just kind of like getting duped into like, fuck, like, buying more and more of the same shit at the same time, like, in a way, like it's just kind of like, I don't know, like if there was a classic album, which is that even a theme that could happen anymore? Where like you're a band that even really within the last. I mean, I guess there is, but within the last, so say from 2015, if you released an album, like, is there even a chance, like, or is everybody just busy buying puzzles and hailing 40-year-old albums? Or hell, maybe that's what it means to be classic, is that you get puzzles and because you've lasted this long, so here is wrong. So here is your freaking plaque, a non-official plaque, but official in a lot of forms. It's just another product. So I don't know. It's at least the thought process that I get hit with it. Really, especially as like, I don't know. I'd hate to like, in a way, like think about the music I've made that like people don't like aren't buying. Like imagine if like I love that album. The puzzle was just so much fun to put on it. Like, well, what's your favorite song? Oh, I never heard it. Because you have those people, especially in this day and age, where who that shouldn't be listening, and I'm sure the list is a laundry one at this point of like people that don't even listen to metal, but then like they're either wearing t-shirts of like designed brands, or I always understood it as made up, just words that could have been a band, I guess, but don't exist, and then like metal logos and artwork as if it were for like people that are, into fashion, because then looking like you're a metalhead, I guess, is a fashion. And that just strikes me as the dumbest thing in the world. And then it just makes me hate everything about it. So like that in a way is kind of what I'm like, are these the puzzle buyers? I mean, I know they're not, but they could be, because that would be the same logic. Like the puzzle was so fucking great. Album, what? Alrighty, back to the. With obviously, yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm loving this. Like, and then that's kind of one I got off my rocker too. Back to the beginning of the video, if you weren't here, the Jared who got me off my ass and said, "Hey, make more content by joining Reaper Metal Patreon." That like, he was one of the many that is saying stuff like that. That you miss the content and whatnot. Like, but at the end of the day, like. For me, it'd always be, and this is my problem, perhaps, but, I'm not the only one doing it, like, putting in an effort into a production aspect, that it's just like, fuck, man, like, even down to the what conversation and like, planning it out, and, like, I just want to sit my ass down and talk, if that's going to be the case, and even that, I don't know, like, at least at regularity, and, because it means thumbnails and descriptions and tags, and it's just like, I'm far, getting off the beaten track of like, grabbing one of these guitars and writing a record, so to speak. So that was kind of really what made me stop in the first place, is to get back on track with that. It's like, well, the only reason why I'm making a freaking podcast is because like I'm not making a record every day, and I don't want to be relying on puzzles as a band. And then getting in a van with 3 other guys and going on a week-long tour to you know, to, you know, it gets signed or whatever, or I don't know, just, I'm not ragging on that either. I'm just saying I'm not willing to do it as much. So just shit like that. uh, so I guess that answers your question. Plans for Crucified Mortals to tour next year. I don't know about plans of touring, but plans of like doing something has always been within the last years. Hence another thing of like stopping with it. It's like, fuck, I keep talking about doing something, but not having really the time or the really the mindset to do it. Kind of being exhausted by puzzles on the mind, I guess. Have the Cavalier re-record Bestial Devastation More Visions yet? Is that even on the table, Don? Grumpy face, I think. Do I still chill with J-Dog? I mean, we chill as much as we ever did by kind of, you know, family events, really. There's a, as he would know, or anybody in my family, there's enough of them regular enough, so that might as well be your constant reminder. Sarcophago or Sepultura? I'm gonna go with Sepultura. That reminds me when H&M, so the mall place, right, tried to sell metal-looking shirts of bands that don't even exist. Right. So I'm right. Okay. I'm yeah. I thought I messed up. Hey Jacob. See, Jacob knows what's up. I'm more interested in talking about guitars and the music and making the music. Because we've been talking about the Crucified Mortal, like playing the Crucified Mortals back catalog on guitar. I've been doing guitar lessons, which has been just overall. I've been doing guitar lessons at the local music store, so that's been eating up my time because it's pretty much almost like full and a half, or not full and a half, half plus a little bit more time job at this point. So been doing pretty well with that. That's been cool. So yeah. Slade, can J-Dog rock out, or I-Dog rock out any instruments or vocals? Unless he started and hadn't told me, no. Metal Musician, what was the last show you attended? I just saw Venom Inc. 4th of July weekend. Show. Shit. It's been a while. Like kind of a hermit these days. But really, I don't know. Just nothing really tickled my fancy to feel like getting up and going out to. I don't remember. The only thing I remember is Into the Darkness Festival, which was last year. So I guess last year. I guess. Is my music on Reaper Metal Bandcamp? Yes. Crucified Mortals. The Spawn of Satan. Not everything, but I was on that. But yeah, everything Crucified Mortals, the Spawn of Satan, complete discography CD would be largely on that too. Then there isn't Nunslaughter. Yeah, there's some Nunslaughter stuff too. At least merch. Not like downloadable music. Well, I guess physical CDs of all of what I just mentioned. Otherwise, some stuff is a little bit old and rare at this point. So like Nordic Mist, which was a band I was like, it was a band I did with Jim from the original, or well, not original, but I don't know, the classic, I guess. Nunslaughter drummer. It was like his Celtic Frost worship project, Nordic Mist. Fuck, I'll pull it up. And I played bass on that. So like that was, you know, like a split CD with another band called Tundra. So like that CD came out, shit, man, I don't even know, a while ago. Far more than, or not about far, but more than 10 years ago. So it's a simple way of saying it's been long since sold out. Because that's called Nordic Mist. And since we're talking about it, I am pulling it up. NORDICMIST. 2 words. Or did he use a Y? No. Because for some reason it seems it's harder for me to find it just by the Reaper Metal thing. But maybe that's just me and it's just there. Okay, cool. So here's what it looks like in case you want to check that out. Because you can download it or you can just jam it for free. Regardless of what you want to do. But take advantage of that sale if you are. Just if we're talking about old, you know, music that I'm on and is available. Because then you could just, you know, jam it here on Bandcamp. Because like I said, it's rare. And I don't think everybody knows about it. And I thought it was pretty cool. That project. 5-4? 5-4. Yeah, 4. 4, well, 3.5, I guess, because the one song is kind of an intro. Songs. So I don't know, they were cool. It was a different project too, so that was kind of another cool aspect of it. Is it just being something of different vein, and not like even I don't know. It was just a phone call, like, hey, can you play bass on it? The rest of the recording is done. Learn these songs, and there you go. So it was just kind of a different experience than writing songs from the bottom up and showing up to weekly practices and playing them live and playing them to exhaustion. You know, shit. It's the writing process. Not to say anything that's bad. I love that stuff. Cool. Say, why? I don't know why. Oh, you're saying bad words, Sam. Why your stuff has always got to be like it gets stuck. I don't know about always yours, but a bunch of like hell for review comments keep him coming up. Renfield, isn't that the name of like a bad new Nicolas Cage movie, by the way? Hard Rock Zombies. Not sure what you're talking about. I think I have to go up for a second. Went to Exhume. Oh, I met. Okay, Raw Sewage, nice dude. For some reason I thought I read something about Ghoul, but I guess that's hence the Ross Sewage remark. Forgot what his alias was in Ghoul. Well, since you got flagged for it, Sam, I might as well read it and get the whole video flagged. Metal music is the best, and the metal community keeps me being alive. Hail fucking metal. So there you go. In a world of puzzles, coffee, band beers, action figures, although I guess we had that, so on and so forth of the miscellaneous product kind, and digital downloads, live streams, and Patreons, and 25% off discounts and box sets, you can also get flagged for something like Hail Fucking Metal by Gion? Is that how we what albums are on Hell's right now that you guys have now and probably won't ever be released? I don't know because I no longer work there. And I got to be honest, I haven't been really keeping a fan's ear because I really wasn't the biggest fan. Not to say anything bad. I just, there's the tastes and a lot of the stuff that's coming out and some of the stuff that at least, now like with a little more of the, well, I don't know a little bit more, but like some of the stuff that J-Dog liked then, like kind of like Regurgitation, that was like more of the, the brutal death metal, I guess, because shit, it's been so long that now that's even classic. Because I feel like a teenager when I think about that stuff. So, and I don't, and I haven't realized that I'm, decades beyond the teenage years. So it's just like fuck. When you really get a reminder of it. So that like that is even being reissued because otherwise I wasn't really a big fan. Like a lot of like the pig squealy, like gurgly gargly death metal of that time. Which I guess that's why I'm lumping some of that stuff into. Hey James, yeah, I'm glad I'm back. I mean, I don't know, back at it, at least doing this, But I'm gonna try to keep doing something relevant. I mean, I never really intended to build something and then just stray away from it. I merely just got caught up in doing something regularly that I felt like I came, saw, and did, and then it was like, well, realistically, I wanted to do a podcast originally. Well, fuck, forget all that. I wanted to make music. That's it. Hence the guitars behind me. That was it. So like it's all started with Crucified Mortals. And then somebody needed to put that record out when we made it. And it's like, fuck, all right, well, I guess I'll be doing a label then too, Picked up a guitar, we needed a vocalist, did that then too. We needed a bass player at one point, was doing that, so it's like, might as well do it yourself kind of attitude, except for cover art. That would have been really rough. Although I did do that for the first demo, and it was rough. Ketchup on my stomach, hanging from a tree, yikes. Innovative though, I guess. So what the hell was the point? So yeah, just getting back to something because then like now that the entity exists, I would blame because I'm also blame a little bit of like what it meant to do, to be doing anything content wise, at least from the endeavors I signed up for, so podcasting because it turned from audio, which was kind of like what I wanted to do, not that I really cared about what was on the radio as a kid. Apparently I kind of did though, because, I can think about bands that at least you heard of more so like, and, not like commercial radio, although I guess be lying to say that like you didn't at least hear of AC/DC. Granted, I don't think it was because of that, but it was unavoidable from the fucking radio. That's the point. You know, through that manner, because of commercial radio. But I like, you know, just constantly hearing it, really whether I liked it or not. That and maybe because of that and not liking it sometimes, because like, you know, you'd have a job and somebody that should not be in charge of the or having a boombox whatsoever, let alone like be in charge of blasting it so that the rest of the print shop job that I had at the time could hear it and suffer through what like is just like, what do you listen like, dude, like come on, man. I would be embarrassed to admit that I like this, let alone blast it for my work crew to hear. But they did. And so just shit like that where like then like I don't know, you hear like commercials. So at that point in my mind it would like might as well start making fun of shit. That like when it came to content, like that was why I wanted to do it. Is like it would just be fun to promote a metal album, but then like use that piece of like stupid radio commercial, you know, that you heard like as a car commercial. And then Chris Barnes did a car commercial, literally. So then it was just like, all right, like, you know what I mean? So, but it was audio was the point, and so and you could do it more radio style. And then the whole podcast thing became video and YouTube videos, because video and YouTube videos are two different things. Because my interest in video really was to get good at it so much that I could get into movies. Like I love horror movies, and I like through kind of like Crucified Mortal songs, and like for really a good long period being focused on writing about ones that I love, horror movies, maybe sometimes just generally movies, but mostly horror. That that even kind of came to further expansion. That I was like, I'd rather than like reiterate the film, which would very much be like inspired by Deceased or really a lot of metal bands, you know, just writing about films. But like using it to inspire maybe my own kind of story that could seemingly sound familiar, but you know, was at least, well, probably what you would do if you wrote a script for a film. And so that was where it was kind of alluring, because then too, you, the band needed videos, you know, especially now, that you have to create that you'd, well, it would be nice that if somebody had that ability. And so that guy was going to be me, you know, and perfecting that video craft to whatever it meant, you know. For a long time period, my cousin was filming weddings and I was editing them. Like that was my jump start into at least that like you could do it for somebody else and not for yourself. So shit like that. That I guess it aligned with this whole podcast thing, and then YouTube videos and content, that it's like, well then shit, like just merge the two and make it now an audio video show. And then of course that has to be influenced by then, you know, like a show on TV where you need multiple camera angles. Like this in a way is bothering the hell out of me. Like half-assing it with like this upright phone, because there used to be a time where you know, like you were a dick, I guess. Like if you posted a video like holding your phone like this. And so like, and you know, I was geezer enough at the time, largely because I didn't have a smartphone for far beyond when most of the world had one. Cell phones included too. It wasn't like that big of an objection. Just later in the games, I didn't need it. That by the time I needed it, I shot them as I thought, like a geezer. Like I thought only old people shot it. Like, you know, kind of like the when your grandma hopped on the social media for the first time and like typed a post or sent you an email with like all caps and like, you know, inappropriate things, well, because they couldn't figure it out. Like, and then I figured out like, oh, you're supposed to turn it on its side, and then that built-in video just, it readjusts itself so it's widescreen. Isn't that great? And it's just like, cool. And then it changed, and now it's cool, and it's just like, I don't feel like keeping up. I mean, there was far more reasons than just shit like that. And I think I'm rambling on the matter. So, I hope that answered your question. Paul Doomsday, good to see you. It's been a moment. Death by Metal Zine number 10 will be back after 24 years. See, Paul knows what it's up to go back and go forward. Cool. Well, then that is a shout out to Paul then. Because he does Death by Metal Zine. So for any of you that is just hearing that name, Death by Metal Zine, Paul Doomsday here in the chat. Go ahead and leave us a link if you have one, Paul. That way anybody here cruising through the chats, whether it be now or later in the game, has that to reference. Cool. Hellraiser 1 and 2 are great movies. I didn't like the second one, Sam. but they are far better, like you said, than those later ones. And boy, did they get bad. I think the only thing that got worse than that were Leprechaun. When he was in space, wow. And then they remade it, which was interesting in and of itself. Jacob, what do you think of Scanners or Videodrome? Videodrome, I don't know if I've seen it, and I don't even know if I can visualize like the cover at least, but I know of it. Scanners, however, it's not Sam Neill. It's that, isn't the guy from because it's like an 80s actor for some reason that I'm thinking of either, and probably wrong about either or, RoboCop or Terminator or Total Recall. I think he's like the bad guy in Total Recall, but he's like a bad guy in a lot of 80s movies. But like, isn't he, if you even know who the hell I'm talking about, like the guy that's on the cover of like being scanned, you know, on, because like they melt in scanners, right? Well, then that at least answers your question. I'm not, obviously, like, I haven't watched Scanners every Halloween or something. Uh, so I'm due for an update. Which, speaking of, you know, stop and start and blah 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 blahs. You know, and then movies and or puzzles and whatever being dedicated fans. Shit's old. Is it classic? Did that do it? All the remarks from earlier. Same things applies to movies. Now I don't know about I haven't really seen like a Halloween, but it has to exist. In fact, it's probably worse. You know, some Michael Myers products that, yeah, they're definitely a puzzle. Which in a way that would really be fine. But now that like shit's like remade, it's almost like fine in that opposite way. Where like I have a freaking Michael Myers tattoo, so when someone's like, "That's an awesome Michael Myers tattoo," like the Once Upon a Time version, that should have been like, "Yeah, cool, thanks." It's kind of more like with like, is it though? Like, did we see the same Halloween? Because like, did we? It's a legitimate questions now that movies have the same fucking titles 3 times in a row. I don't know about in a row, but yeah, you get the point. Especially for that example, for sure. My cousin, the Slipknot fan. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, probably somebody like. I mean, a lot of people like him, and in fact, I mean, well, I guess in regard to, well, one of the back end remarks to caring about the puzzles. This guy really hates the band cover puzzles. It's just also being like, well, what era of fan are you to something that, like, you know, in my mind, like, okay, so like for now, like you could be so much of a fan of a new band or just any band that's doing something, and then like pay a subscription so that you get exclusive video content, right? I think so. I'm like right in question mark at the end, because I wouldn't do such a thing. I just don't see caring. But people do. Like, I guess I'm taking advantage of that of myself. But you know what I mean? But it's not to say that sucks. It's just to say that, like, I like music by buying a record and then putting it on. I don't need to build a puzzle, because that was good enough, you know? That. What's up with James Woods turning himself into a DIY VCR? I don't know. Greg Kelly, what's up, everybody? Just blasted some Angel Corpse and tuned in. That was probably the box set that somebody was referring to, because when I saw AC, I was thinking of Anal Cunt, and yeah, Angel Corpse would have come to mind. Both of which would be more of a Hell's Headbangers attribution, though. So, again, I'm not the right guy to ask. Because are you still signing bands for HHB? Like, there's no you. I kind of never was either. Yeah. Because that's kind of... Well, you know, J-Dog and company, my brothers, just doing their thing. They were always doing their thing. Because I'm doing my thing over here. Remember the acid guy was walking like he had a booger on his finger? No. I'm not sure, though, what the context of that was. Scanners, maybe? Because Sam Neill is Jurassic Park. Yeah, the guy I was talking about for Scanners, like, kind of has a Sam Neill look to him, but I don't know. Never mind, though. Unless that made sense, like, I'm not going to figure it out unless I go pull up the Scanners roster, which I probably could in 2 seconds. All hail Godzilla. Which one? What's up with Michael Myers being an introvert? Right. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you know, and I don't care. Like, I'm not like my day's not ruined if somebody like, you know, although I've done videos where it would seem as such, you know, talking about where somebody says, well, it's entirely the point. Thinking about that video that yes, once did that's of the opinionated kind. That it was about because I was wearing an Incubus Serpent Temptation shirt and I was at Chipotle, and the guy that like filled it in was like, "That's a sweet shirt," and I'm not being a dick. I'm not being opinionated. I just fucking knew he was not talking about the same band, and I couldn't understand that. How could you be a fan of something and not know what the album's covers look like to figure out like, well, A, that's not their album cover. Like, I've never seen that in their discography. That's not their logo. That's not a title of any of their songs I've heard. But I love it so much to give this guy a compliment. Like, no, you don't. You're just making small talk, and I'm not having that in a Chipotle line. So, like, if you're like, sweet Michael Myers tattoo, and we're talking about the Rob Zombie introvert version, we're not talking about the same Michael. I'm not into that one. I nearly walked out of the theater for that one. Not because it was, oh my God, he's remaking it, and Rob Zombie's got one good movie, and this is going to be potentially the second one, and I can't have that. No, it was just like, I don't like this. This is painstaking. When they started climbing up walls, screaming help, I was done. Like, dude, nobody's coming at this point. Like, you know what I mean? If you were outside screaming help and that didn't work, climbing up walls and ceilings screaming help is just like filling screen time and proving Rob Zombie, which I will attest, is a horrible screenwriter. Horrible. He's a horrible lyricist and a horrible screenwriter. And if you don't believe me, well then, what's that one song where he says fuck like a zillion times? Like, it's not one song, Reaper's all of them. Right, because he's bad at writing. He can't think of every fucking words. There you go. So different kind of guy giving me a compliment. New Cannibal Corpse box set has a puzzle in it for the album. Right. So Don, is it there so that so that, you know, because it's their new album, like, is that like the record company, you know, that world that we live in now, that you can't just buy the album, jam it, stare at like read the lyrics and stare at like what instead, like, you know, you're just jamming it and like putting together a puzzle. Like, I'm not saying it sucks. I'm just saying, is it there for like a bigger sale? It just feels like a bigger sale, and like that you're getting married to like loving a record. Like, can't you just like it for the music? The last time I saw, well, not the last time, but so when I used to work at Hell, since a lot of these questions are centered around that, and so then to clarify, that's why, like, I haven't worked there in 3.5 years. So no about all this stuff. I'm not the guy. J Vic, if you got the reference, I guess it was RoboCop. Anyway, where the hell was I going with that? Oh, so Athenar from Midnight would come down a lot. And those VHS tapes, not so much VHS tapes, but as this story is going to go, the demo tapes that have posted here on the channel, which if you're not, what are you talking about? Look, there's hundreds. They're really cool, some good stuff. Obscure stuff too. So I was digitizing Malicious Onslaught on that day too. And so Athenar would come down to Hell's Headbangers a lot, like on Fridays mostly, to do some shopping, and I would have to ring him out, and, you know, he would chat and whatnot. And so, like, as I was digitizing them, because, like, as you digitize a tape, like, you press play, and if it's an 8-hour tape, you're going to be there for 8 hours. That's how long it's going to take to digitize, if nothing went wrong. And then you had to stop and then do some certain shit, or, you know, so on and so forth. So anyway, I'm digitizing the Malicious Onslaught, this, like, you know, old school band from, well, obscure is more the word. Old school, obscure, defunct, probably never heard of it. Band from New York, and their demo was called Thrashed Black. It's got one of the best Razor shrieks. In fact, if you've heard Crucified Mortals and you hear the shriek I do, no, it wasn't from being a Razor fan. It was being into Malicious Onslaught, which had no puzzles, no coffees, no beers, not even an album. Actually, they did have an album, but hardly an album, because it wasn't even like sought out to be an album. It was just like recordings put together then called an album that were demos. So all they have done were demos. Hence the point of kind of where this gripe has come from, because it was about the music. And so much about the music as per this conversation, because, you know, jamming it, digitizing it, and it's playing out loud. Everybody can hear it. And it's like, what are we listening to? He would Athenar asked. And it's like, oh, well, it's just Onslaught. And probably went into a verbal, you know, diarrhea that I just did kind of thing. Because I really like the demo. And so, dude, I'm doing it for this demo right now. That's why we're listening to it. I'm digitizing it, and then all my demos. So, like, I'll burn it on a CDR for you if you want a copy. Like, no, this is good right now. I'm enjoying it right now. It's good enough. And that, like, no puzzle was needed. Didn't even need to buy the demo. Didn't say it sucked. Didn't say, fuck this band. I never wanted them to ever strike a guitar. Reaper has the worst taste in music. That people would take that as, like, you know, what do you mean you don't... No, it's just like we're enjoying, like, and why can't you have that attitude? Like, maybe you can, and it's just me, but that's at least where it all comes full circle, I hope. Again, Lance, no control over the HHB stuff. Toho 54 and new one coming, Godzilla. Holy crap, I didn't realize there were new ones. I gotta be honest, the last time I checked in with Godzilla, Matthew Broderick was running from him. J. Vic. Remember when that rap metal band slapped? I do remember. Many of them. That is now like, that's just like now classic, which totally makes me think of Limp Bizkit. Unfortunately, I'm breaking them up, sorry. But because it's just fucking hilarious. Because, well, it's just the world we live in, you know? Because I hated that band. Still do. Don't like it. Don't like that style of music. If people love it, that's fine. I don't care. And so, like, when that shit was coming out, you know, I was a teenager too. So, you know, you're in school, and it's far more annoying at that period in time. That I guess to deal with it in a way that it's just like, you know, I mean, I think I was pretty much nominated without being nominated as like possible contender to shoot up a school, which I can kind of see why. I did not really like my classmates, but I never really went to those lengths. I wouldn't dare. I would never give up my life for that. So I guess my mindset would have been then, like, fuck this. Why would I ever do that? I just want to get through this bullshit, and then I won't have to deal with it. So the fact that I got through that bullshit, and for the longest time, you didn't have to really deal with it. Until now, like, you see, like, it would be just totally normal to be wearing a Devastation shirt and then jamming Slipknot. And I did, like, that used to be the escape, you know, and like because that was an era too, like, oh, you dress in black, you must be goth. And it's just like, I got fucking black pants on, man. Like, I don't know. Like, why did I have to have like all these? So then, like, you know, oh, you like metal? Oh, you must love Korn. And like, you know, insert horrible bands of those era. And like, no. And certainly didn't want to be lumped in. You know, because then you're a kid and it's like a clique thing. And it matters then. So then when you're, you know, now I laugh about it because it doesn't matter so much. They just kind of be like, huh, that kind of sucks. When you like, you know, see that younger generations like new metal and death metal and black metal all the same, and there's really no rivalry as like, I don't know. I just think of like, the genre wars, like, you know, black metal and death metal, you know. So, like, I guess it's a good thing. People are relaxed. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it's, you know, you come from different places in time. It drives me crazy that a lot of these people, or these canoes, what does a canoe have to do with anything? I'm sorry, world. It drives me crazy that a lot of these canoes think you are Siamese quintuplets with your three brothers that are part of HHB. Yeah, I'm confused. What do you mean by canoe? I got one. Or no, they're kayaks. Season of the Witch is better than the zombie Halloween movies. Yes, Greg, very much so. I hated it when I first saw it back when, because and that's the fucked up thing too. Like, now that we've got more Michael Myers, like, that was the gripe, was like 3 and there's no Michael Myers. I want more Michael Myers. And then 4 came out, and it was probably like, maybe not. But you still kind of went. Because then 5 came out, and like, at least the cover of 4, like, had what should have been Halloween 1. Because, like, Shit. The Mackenzies, right? Across the street where you see the silhouette of Michael. Because, well, this is where I'm qualified to talk about it with this great. The tattoo is from Halloween 4's cover. And I remember a friend of mine once upon a time pointed out the fact that, like, did you ever notice that Halloween 4 might as well have been the cover of Halloween 1? Because it has the house from across the street that Tommy's looking at. The Mackenzies, I think, right? Or no, the Doyles. It's Tommy's house. Fuck, I can't remember. I gotta watch it again. Damn, Rob Zombie's on the mind, and then the new ones. Ooh, man, that's another gripe. So it throws off the original. See my point? So anyway, that, like, by the time you got 4, it's like, well, I mean, at least it has some of the stuff that the music's cool. Like, it's got that, and the mask was. I think there's actually controversy, which I think if there's, unless I gotta like getting it wrong in my head, I think it's no contest. Halloween 5. From the 80s. I think I'm gonna have to clarify for the 10 years later audience that might be watching this. Like, is that Halloween 5 2031? Like, no, Halloween 5. Got distracted from the audience here in the basement where this broadcast was recorded in front of a live studio audience of 1. So number 4 has the cover, so at least you suffered through for that. Then 5 comes on, and you went, we still wanted more, so at least we got that bad mask. That mask is bad. Because then by the time 6 came out, I don't know what happened. Because then it kept going, and at 7, 8, Busta Rhymes. Happy Halloween, Michael. Doesn't he do a roundhouse kick of Michael Myers? So, like, shooting him, stabbing him, and all the other shit that happened for 20 years was no match for Busta Rhymes doing a roundhouse kick into a few flames. In fact, in the second one, that's what killed him, was a fucking explosion. So flames, totally. That's why, hence this conversation. Season of the Witch occurred, because as being a John Carpenter nerd, that's what he said. Like, the idea was, I don't want to do a second one, but then they paid him handsomely, so he made up a second one, handed it off to somebody else, but was loosely involved in it. Then by the time 3 came out, it's like, fuck, well, I'll be slightly involved by doing the music again, because at least I like doing that. See, he knows what's up. Then he got, what's his name, that kind of really came up with the William Shatner design mask, so, always a part of his crew to direct the 3rd one. But, still, John Carpenter be slightly involved. That the intention through that involvement, I think he was a producer other than making the music, was that, like, well, with the Season of the Witch idea, Halloween 3, it'll be cool, and maybe, like, which is totally probably a lost concept, a cable network might pick it up, and then it could be, like, an ongoing series that, like, every Halloween has a different follow-along Halloween night theme. And that sounds cool as hell. I wish that happened. Not these bad remakes, or remake. I don't even know what they call them now, when you use the same damn name. Frasier, good to see you. Haven't seen you since kicking out all bad ass when I did that interview. What's up? What's your favorite Destroyer? Favorite Destroyer 666 would have to be probably like most Unchain the Wolves. I'm a late bloomer to the band too, so that's the one that I remember the most. Because I don't go back as often. But then I always enjoy it. So it's always like a new listen to me. At least, well, the other stuff. Because what's it? Phoenix Rising? Phoenix? I don't know. All, like, stuff like that. Like the other albums, like, I can't even name them off the top of my head. So yeah, Fraser, you know all about the Texas. And Slade knows you. So good to see that. Message held. Who's going to be the swearing candidate? Oh, Fraser, you weren't here for that, but yeah, YouTube doesn't like when you say bad things. So I'll be a puss, not a wuss. Well, the wusses said you can't swear. Jacob, I used to get called goth too. Remember wearing an Emperor hoodie in like 2003 and kids asking me, "Are you into 9 Inch Nails?" Exactly. Not saying they suck, and that's another thing. Like back then too, it was almost like a genre, like an alternative and grunge and metal and goth divides that, like, I thought anyway, like 9 Inch Nails and Deicide wouldn't be an acceptable combination. That now it's perfectly acceptable, because I'm pretty sure I saw that, and that's why I thought of Deicide. The one and only time I saw him in Cleveland. Doom, and more Doom. Yep. Sorry, just catching up on. I just thought of the Always Sunny episode where Danny DeVito and they do the podcast. Dead air. The fuck you talking about, Rapport? Do you like now? I don't know what I mean. You mean there, Frasier? Maybe I just can't read. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of rap. Maybe people love it. I don't know. That's fine with them. Saudi Arabian Halloween 15 season of the sandwich. Well, we're talking shit, I guess now, Frasier. So, got to pay the troll toll. We went from griping about coffees, beers, and puzzles of bands to a Devastation box set. To a reminder, Frasier, you weren't here. 25% off reapermetalproductions.bandcamp.com. Whole store, bunch of stuff, hundreds, maybe thousands of titles. A lot of them are one-offs, so realistic. Not to be that act now quick, act now quick guy. It was more so remarking on how dumb of a line I just said. But act now and quickly, because there's a lot of one-offs. So once somebody buys them, it's gone, and that's good till Sunday. So DOW, Greg, Lance, Frasier, I'm calling you all out. Reaper Metal sale till Sunday. Summer 2023. Take advantage of it. 25% off everything. And pay the troll toll. And check out Nordic Mist, one of my obscure projects that I did with R.I.P. Jim from Nunslaughter back in the day. I said I was going to play it. Fuck. So we're going to put that on the background. I mean, I've done this before. That's hence a kind of reoccurring topic of but here. Nordic Mist on the background, so if you like what you semi-hear with me over talking, get the non-narrated conversation version that we're going through. Check it out. Reaper Metal Bandcamp. There it is. That's what it looks like. Nordic Mist, Into the Psychic Delve. Cool, like Silk to Frost worship. Tuned down, heavier. Kind of cool. Said that about a billion times. North 482 was an interesting series. Lance, is it over with? Because last I saw it, they just got to Christmas Land, and then the Zombies were going to do something significant, and then the cliffhanger till next season, and then that season was on the rocks. Are they going to do it? Are they going to not? So I want to say maybe 3, because otherwise I read the book, and that was good enough. Again, but then that's kind of a lot of movies or films and series, that come from books, so can't really complain about that. I'm just saying, reading was good enough. Right, DOW, you have to the Athena. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it right now. So if you're exactly. So as I talk about this, maybe you just might enjoy right now. Nordic Mist. Frasier, you did. Weren't you at a gig when I was in Nunslaughter back in 2000 something in Houston? I thought I found that out. We weren't in Houston, but Austin. There were 2 shows, San Antonio and Austin. At least on that leg. I forgot the year. But anyway, I saw that on I thought that was unveiled on the Jamming Out All Badass, which shit. Shout out to Jamming Out All Badass too, cool YouTube channel too. So in my wake of not having content, check that out too for everybody here, because similar content, total old school interviews with cool characters from those days, and just a lot of the same taste in music. No Slipknot's going to be brought up. Maybe if not bitching about it. And, but otherwise, an aid to this awesome Devastation box set in supplying some materials, probably some of the photos and flyers. So, like I said, a lot of people that, are active in whatever way, shape, or form, just being followers, to running their own show, to being in bands, just went into that. So, I don't know, all the more that I'm into. Cool. So, Nordic Mist is going on in the background, so definitely, again, ramming that in. Devastation box set for those enjoying it. Redefining Darkness did this, so You don't have to get the box set either. You could get all 3 cassette tapes. You could get the CD, or you could get the vinyl only, and you can even get the shirt. Speaking of Jim, did you get the shirt? Inside joke, but anytime you take a band photo, like, you know, you'd be done like, yeah, like, let's see him. I was like, cool. Did you get the shirt? He'd say to the photographer. So reminders about that then, because those people keeping it alive for us. And I mentioned him in the beginning of the show, so I'm going to give him a shout out again here at the later of the show. Anybody that watches this through and through, because he's one of those awesome people that has, you know, kept the faith and been alive on the Reaper Metal Patreon. So I definitely want to, you know, use this opportunity to bring attention, because if you're going to be on Bandcamp in the first place, checking out that sweet 25% off Reaper Metal sale now till Sunday, summer 2023, when you're checking out, so you can use it. Not so much if you check out any of these bands though, because they're not a part of the sale; they're on their own. But a shout out to Jared. For giving me a kick in the ass and being on the Patreon, but anybody that's on there and everybody that's here right now, regardless of what you're doing as far as paying for anything. But Pestilent Death is one of his bands, so we're gonna put that on the player right now in the background. I started off the show with that. While I tell you about his other bands, Wretched Hallucination. We have more than one release because Pestilential Death. Sorry, I think I said Pestilent Death. Just going a mile a minute. Has one release, it seems, at least on Bandcamp. Because then No Oslo. Which I remember getting. I was just going to say, kind of has a rigor mortis kind of sound. Bruce Corbett kind of sound in and of himself. Would you agree, Frazier? Anyway, the No Oslo band, too. I kind of remember getting back in the day. So, shout out Jared. Thanks a lot. Check out his bands. No Oslo. Pestilential Death, as we're listening to right now. And then Wretched Hallucination, which I haven't actually heard myself. So, hell, let's take a listen. I like the artwork. It's eye-catching. Not to say that the previous one sucked. Just these are a little more colorful. Makes me think of Acid Witch. Probably the hallucination thing. Cool. Well, then there we go. We got a new background soundtrack of Wretched Hallucination. Because again, Jared's bands, check them out, please. On Bandcamp, all those. That's what we're literally listening to. Cool to know, Fraser. And good to see you back here. So I've been here for about an hour and a half, going on a few minutes. So if I have not outwarmed my welcome, I will keep some, hit me with some, I don't know, a chat or whatnot. Because otherwise I kind of intended to hop on one of the other socials, Instagram, just to give, you know, a shout out there, since it's been a while. And then basically say, hey, if you've been wondering, well then go back to YouTube. Since that's kind of been. But hey, sabbatical. Wow, awesome. Still alive. I think you're assuming me. So yeah. That's why I just mentioned I might be going to Instagram. Just in case there's anybody out there that's... But there you go. Fraser's got a good question. It's not Crucified Mortem, although that would be a cool name for the tribute band. Crucified Mortals. What's up with it? Everything that's always been up with it. Too much on the back burner, but less on the back burner all these days. Being afforded with the time to kind of craft more and have a better sites to, well, there's a lot that goes into writing stuff, especially when you got to make freaking videos and whatnot that I was, you know, eating up a lot of my time, you know, when it comes into the Reaper Metal production side of things. So, the latest thing that's happened is recruited a new drummer. Not that anybody needed to be unrecruited, but kind of expanding what it could bring to the equation and into the sound of things, because, you know, other than previous rants or whatever of a band, like a perfect, you know, bands can't change their lineups, or when they did, that album sucked, kind of nostalgia, that at least was discussed on on previous shows. I guess I'm committing that sin, and just trying to expand those horizons, because yeah, Tommy from Redefining Darkness, who did the Devastation box, is also a very awesome drummer, as he's awesome with everything that he does. So we got to finally bring that idea to fruition and successfully like meet up and do something And in the process, we ripped out 2 new songs. So that was really cool and exciting, and just really got me back pushing forward, because usually I'm down here by myself, and that also can play into, sometimes your inspiration, because it's like you can't get people together to jam. And I don't know, I always kind of, I like to kind of come up with an idea on my own, and like be comfortable with it before like you're faced with, the rest of, who's going to be playing in the band with it. That way you're not just like, so what do you got? Like, I got one riff and it sucks, kind of, or whatnot. To have, well, where does this go? And then get maybe a blank, so get as far as you can by yourself, kind of mentality, and then bring it, because then maybe that could be where the energy or the chemistry is. Everybody always uses, we had great chemistry. Never knew why the Science Project had to be in there, and not to be like, we were inspired because we were in the same room, we liked the same shit, and it was pretty awesome when we were playing it together. So it was pretty awesome when we were playing it together, and ideas just happened. So that's the point of it. Lance, we need more bands in Connecticut. I always have drummer issues on Nickel Duster. Leave a link to Nickel Duster. Everybody here, check out Lance's band. So I was going to, like I said, I was going to jump into the Instagram audience, but I wanted to at least come here and say everything I was going to say. Because with all that said, you're alive, you did this, you didn't do that, and why didn't you do it? Well, one of the other things too is, affording time to like just shit you're just naturally into. So new music, new to me anyway, music I've been jamming, because previously when we were doing the Into the Darkness, podcast. So Tommy from Into the Darkness, playing drums in Crucified Mortals now too. So if you remember that, him, and then Redefining Darkness, putting out this Devastation. So doing a lot of stuff together. We did an interview with Peter from Hypocrisy, and I'm a late bloomer of Hypocrisy. I never really dove into always knew who they were and just never bothered. Frankly, until we did that interview, and then I was like, oh, cool, and then I went back through. So then I couldn't really obtain most of the back catalog, and I kind of found myself being more unlike a lot of the, at least the cult-minded Hypocrisy fan, where Penetralia only or the first 2 albums. I think it seems like that anyway. Like, once they started singing about aliens, it got shitty, and it's just like, I don't know. Once they started singing about aliens, I kind of liked it more. So there's definitely a few hit or miss albums I've come to find, but they've got a lot of they've got a huge catalog. So if you miss one every once in a while, it's like there's still plenty more to choose from. So I couldn't get the ones that I did like. So Abducted, I think I get them confused, frankly. Is the first Alien album? Because otherwise I couldn't, you couldn't get it. At least I couldn't. And Nuclear Blast reissued now pretty much the whole discography of Hypocrisy. So I've been the late bloomer, then finally just getting into it, and it, because then I couldn't freaking buy it and had to just jam it on the internet to even really get into it. Because then Fourth Dimension, which I thought it was I always get the two confused. I thought Abduction, then Fourth Dimension, but I think it goes this way. Because I don't know if we're referring to a fourth dimension and there exist aliens, and that was the first Alien album. Because it seems like this is more still kind of slower pace, really. So it kind of doomy your death metal. In my opinion. That again, I kind of gravitated towards a little bit the Abducted stuff. Vocal style changed and a little bit more upbeat, because there gets a little boring midway through the album, I would say, at least for Hypocrisy. So if you're curious what's new in my world, at least, because there's obviously aren't new records, but newly reissued, that would tickle your fancy to know that. Not metal related, but just jamming what I like, and I guess metal related, but not metal in and of itself. Information, but I'm assuming Sweden, because Gehenna from Sweden, the thrash band. Something about the sidewalk. And then something thrash. They're classic. They're out. Well, I guess classic now. Albums from late '90s. Anyway, guitar player from that band, Swedish thrash band. Coffin Shakers. Rob Coffin Shaker is that guy. Singer, guitar player. So country, really. Not shitty. Whoever they call country now. What you're probably thinking. So, but with dark lyrics and stuff. Smart Records in Finland put this out, the collection then of their first album, which was hard to find, and then goodies that you never heard before amongst 7 inches. So I was excited about that. That's a new acquirement as of recently. And then it has totally nothing to do with metal, but we were talking about horror movies. So just yesterday, I picked up this cheese pizza, Sleepwalkers, which is apparently like, you know, how they're doing all, well, Scream Factory, Shout Factory, one of the same, I guess, factory that's putting together a lot of like horror movie reissues, and at this point they've expanded into just even like popular, you know, cinema movie or cinema would-be movies, shows though as well. It seems like as well. So this seems to be a part of that because that's who did this version of Sleepwalkers, which I have not seen in forever. So I just kind of blindly grabbed this because I remember it being one of the cheesiest pizzas I've ever visually seen. So whatever. I'm looking forward to that because in a way that is kind of also a lost art. Movies, you know, they I don't know. Everything has to be like, well, they look like PlayStation games for one now. So there's just kind of a lost fun of seeing somebody like, you know, Stan Winston, who did like Predator and Aliens, like, you know, seeing the actual art of making the monster and the special effects. Like, maybe if it looked fake, which I don't nothing really what Stan Winston's name looked fake per se. I guess Pumpkinhead could have been questionable, but like it was badass. Like, you know, you liked it for that. Like, it was cool to see that art, and the art like wasn't just like a sculpture that you went to a museum and watched. Like, it was in a movie and it came to life, and that was the means that it could. And you know what I mean? It was like more of an art form than programming the PlayStation game and there's your Pumpkinhead or there's your cats and Sleepwalkers and so on and so forth. It's just, or Michael Myers at this point, you know. I don't know why they would have to CGI a mask on somebody's head, but some of this shit seems to be like, why would they have to CGI that and not just get Stan Winston to make it? So maybe they will fucking, you know, do it in the future, because I don't know, people seem to like video game art, which is kind of weird because you see it like on metal album covers now too. So yeah. Greg's a late. Oh, cool. So I'm not the only. Fuck, my notes are falling here. Not the only late bloomer to hypocrisy. Well, that's good to see. I'm a late bloomer to the edge of sanity too, Fraser. Same time period. We did the interview Into the Darkness, and Dan Swano was a guest, and I was pretty much talking on my ass, or at least just having heard a lot of that, because it was just, I don't know. I made the remark of like gurgly death metal. Like, I kind of, for a longest time, like kind of, not being in the heyday of the 80s with the classic thrash, but still like liked that, you know, so growing up in the 90s, like that to me in like my high school days and, you know, teenage years, like brutal death metal was like, you know, the thing. And like, I didn't like it. So I kind of always, for a while, like any death metal was brutal death metal. Like, there wasn't a differentiation. So I cruised along a lot, and I think that's kind of how some of this went under the radar. I just assumed it was that. And then you go back and you find, well, it's Swedish death metal or this, that. And then, you know, so on and so forth. So, yeah, jamming out badass. I thought it was jamming out all badass. Cool YouTube channel. I did an interview there about a year ago, really, so it's not really much news. But if you haven't seen that, check it out. Otherwise, alrighty, I think I'm going to stick to my scheduled plan and hop over to Instagram. So if you have one, just join me there, and we're going to just do a Q&A kind of thing. Really just to say hi and promote shit, to be brutally frank, and then break some silence, because otherwise not have like a full-on radio conversation if this has been one. Hopefully it's been one. I hope this was enjoyable. I feel like I was doing a live stream in the very much essence that I would have made a Hellcast episode, you know, not having live comments and stuff. And we used to do it that way too, with having live comments. So I don't know, feels like an episode, I guess is the point. So hopefully you liked it like that. And if you did, actually let me know, because that would inspire me more to do something like this, because again, I could easily turn something into a Reaper Metal production, but literally by setting up, you know, cameras. It's got to be this, it's got to be well lit, I have to be prepared on topics, I got to have a good microphone, the audio sounds like shit, oh fuck, I got to edit it, you know, and then like and then overwhelm, and then eventually just not do it. So Your feedback would be that much appreciated and keep me on task with some sort of content. Just heard Necrophagia Season of the Dead for the first time within the last year or so, Jacob says. That would be years for me. In fact, I hadn't heard it since Killjoy died. Literally. Yeah, because that was when we were doing Heavy Metal Relics and Cinema Wasteland in Strongsville, Ohio, so in the Cleveland area, which I used to live down the street from. I guess he would come to those all the time. And then Billy from Razorback Records, Evil Speak, a zillion things now at this point. Vault Wraith, one of his bands. Shit. Had his like thrash punk band. Sorry, Billy, if you're watching. Anyway, enough plugs, but knew Killjoy, knew that he came out, and I didn't know that he was that he was basically there years previously, and like I could have done something with him, but had the show, and then it was like, hey, like, here's Reaper doing this Heavy Metal Relic show. Do you want to go to his house and do an episode? And it's like, yes, we'll do that next time. And then unfortunately, that next time never happened. So that's kind of the memory of it, of why I say it like that. But yeah, been years for me as well. I don't know about the daily video, Fraser. I don't know. I don't have the inspiration to have like at least something to feel like I have to say. But if it was talk about guitar and share your opinion about other shit, then maybe I do, and I just need to be told that that's good enough. Because otherwise, it has to be like hounding the internet for interesting, top 10, things that you could do for. Really, because I've done so many of them, so like a lot of the content would just be like being a fan that to make a video or a topic about it, I could do that in my sleep, and then like it could be fun and clever, like because I don't know, you just like misheard lyrics come to mind, like unless you listen to it, you don't mishear the lyric. So how the hell do you keep that theme going once you've done it once with all the examples you had? And then people like it, and now you got to keep it going because you run this podcast series that needs content. Like, I that times it by 100 because that's like, there was, well, that would be like a segment. You know what I mean? So like they become reoccurring segments that you do when you're building a show. I don't know. That was the objective though. It was like to build it like a true kind of show thing and put in that effort. That, like I said earlier, like this little slither live stream off the cuff kind of stuff slightly is like, oh my god, like that's half-assed. I can't do that. So again, just need to be told clearly. Like by this, hopefully that's an example of enough. See me speak it out and suffer through it. Like this guy really overthinks it. Hopefully that is the answer. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna hop over on Instagram, Reaper Metal Productions Instagram. If you have one, hop over there. I'll see you in a minute. Otherwise, I thank you for being here. Again, the sale, please take advantage of that. Like I said, it's going on until Sunday, but it really helps out. And really, it's just a lot of cool stuff, and it's that. There's one-offs of it, so if you don't get it, like you could miss out on something cool. And a lot of people were stoked because, I don't know, some cool rarities there. Travis will be reissuing the Raven Called album. Well, go ahead and press replay on this, Travis. There's plenty mention of like a lot of the do this on that are Hell's Headbangers things, and well, the answer was simply that I don't work there, and I haven't for about 3.5 years. And I never really did have a part in deciding releases. I was just helping in other ways. So, that it would then ultimately be something that you would want to direct your attention to JDog or an email to them. Justin Horval, YouTube, though, if you want to find him on YouTube, and I don't know. He's posting videos every day, so yeah, you have plenty of an opportunity to make him remark, because then he reads comments and stuff in some videos. So there you go. I bet he does talk about Cannibal Corpse a lot, but yeah, he loves them. So, and that's fine. That's great. And exactly, if you got something to say about that, then that's great, and good thing he's doing it because he definitely does have a lot to say about that. And yeah, until we kind of did our thing together, I didn't really think that he may do some sort of social media thing. I just think it seemed like he didn't like it, or I guess like YouTube is a different kind of social media. So, and he didn't really say he hated YouTube. In fact, he watched YouTube as far as I knew. But like, other social media. So to that thought, didn't think that he had it in him that he would care. But yeah, he's 100% like true to what he does and loves what he does. So like, if anybody's got anything to say and say it daily, he would be one of them. So it's good that he, found his platform and he's doing it. So glad you like it too. And yeah. Anyway, cool. I'm gonna jump over to Instagram. So cheers.